Boom. Hello there.
Boom. Hello.
How are you, boss?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
All right, mate. I guess they need a little bit of context. I obviously don't need any context. We go way back, but I guess people need context. So, the floor is yours.
All right. So you and I met in a few years ago. That was great English. Um we met a few years ago doing CrossFit. You were a coach and I was coming doing some working out at the box and you were like,
A bit of
damn,
training.
she's fit. Yeah,
Yeah.
a bit of training. You were like, damn, she's fit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tried talking to me and I was like,
Do
sorry,
one.
mate. Having none of that. And then and then we just became mates, innit? Went for
Yeah.
coffee, just a banging time. And
Fuck.
then since then, it's all Gucci. It's all good.
But I remember like the first my first class I was coaching at that gym. No one turned up,
Yeah, I know.
and you turned
I came
round.
to do open. Yeah, I came, there was no one there. I was like, shit, I don't want to go to a class where there's no one there on his first day and say, sorry, I don't want to do your class. So I left and came back later. Sorry.
Oh
God,
my
I felt
God.
so bad for you, but I was like, I don't want to make it worse.
Well, I mean, on the one hand, I was getting paid to do nothing, but on the other hand, I was like, well, I'm wanted in this gym. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
everyone wants you. Yeah,
But
and
it,
you seemed so nice on your little bio they made for you on Facebook. I just didn't want to be.
yeah,
Do you want to be mean?
yeah. I mean, it
So I
was like
guess.
I think it was a Thursday, so obviously like International Rest Day, and it was like a dinner time class. So
Yeah.
right in the middle of the day, and obviously the gym's in an industrial park. So I was just like, okay, yeah, fair enough, like whatever. Like the evening was pretty busy, so and then it just picked up from there and just absolutely snowballed.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
okay.
everyone loves you there. So
It was all right. Acting.
acting,
It's a crazy craft.
we do. It is a crazy craft. I like
Talk to
that.
me.
Crazy craft. So I'm an actor.
You are.
Um. Yeah, I went to drama school for a year, and then I tried to get back in, and they won't let me in. And I
Nice.
tried to get back in again. And they won't let me in again. So I was like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. I do it on my own. So yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. So I got an agent, learned all the shit I could learn. I speak two languages as well as English. I play 6 instruments because the acting industry now, you can't just act anymore. I mean, you can, but you got to do so many other things
Mm.
if you really want to set yourself apart from people. So yeah, I got myself an agent and then that didn't work out. So I got a new agent September last year. And then I had so much rejection for like the past 5 years.
Mm.
And then I get a banging job. So like, that's just the industry.
Mm.
It's so much rejection. And then as Lady Gaga says, there could be 100 people in the room and 99 don't believe in you, but one of them does. And that's that.
There you go.
So
That's all you
yeah,
need, right? You need that one, that
just
that
need
that one door open.
that one door open. So yeah, it's it's all good. It's so hard. And like, I don't know why people want to do it because it's a bit shit. Like, it's so hard. But I think if you want to do something enough and you have such a passion in you to do it, you'll find a way to do it.
Yeah, 110%.
Yeah.
110%. Like, I mean, every time I speak to someone that seems like they have done crazy feats of whatever in their field is simply because they are beaming with passion. And it's like, it doesn't matter because if they had to do another full-time job to pay their rent and they could never make a single penny doing whatever they wanted to do, they would still end up doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's true though, isn't it? Like, and especially with acting, like we take it for granted. Like as us mere muggles, we you watch a movie or whatever, and you're just like, oh, this is cool. You know, you invest in the the storyline, the characters or whatever, and then you actually forget that they're people playing those roles.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, like they would have to have prepared so much, like trained for it, done whatever, change this, change that, to then play that role. I'm like, my God, that craft is incredible.
Yeah, we don't get credit for it, man. I mean, just the fact that a drama school course, I mean, I did a year and that was so hard. Like it was 9 o'clock start, 9 o'clock finish, 5, 6 days a week. So it's mental. And then you're doing 3 years and it's that for 3 years. I mean, the third year is pretty chill, but you're doing showcases, so it's stressful in a different way. Well, like, it's just a whole different thing. Like, you have to completely lay yourself bare. Like, you have to be so vulnerable on stage or in front of a camera, but then when you're not on stage or in front of a camera, you've got to have the thickest skin because that's the industry. Like, you go to an audition, they could be like, oh yeah, sorry, you're too fat, or sorry, you're too tall. Like, it's less so now, but it's so hard. And you could be an incredible actor and you just don't look right for some reason, and then you don't get it. And then you get that all the time, and you think maybe it's you personally, maybe you are a shit actor and that's why you're not getting the jobs. And you know, it gets so in your head, and you just gotta keep talking yourself up, keep telling yourself that, yeah, you are good enough to do this. It's what you're supposed to do. And then just hope that one day the right person sees you.
And like, you know, there's so many productions out there in so many different genres and whatever. Like even, I'll be guilty of it. I'll just look at Netflix, the pictures, or TV series. You're just like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm like, no, there's bloody plays. There's all types of different things, and you're like, oh wow. So there truly is like a space and a niche for everyone. It's just you've just got to wean through so much shit and so much backlash to find it, and then prosper through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And with just reminded me then with plays, as you were saying before about like getting in the character's headspace, and like how taxing that can be. Like you have to learn how to get out of it at the end of a play as well. So there's this play called A Streetcar Named Desire, and the lead character, how can I describe her? So she goes through a lot. And at the end she gets sectioned because of what happens to her in the play. And there was one actor who played her, and when she finished the run of the play, she actually had to be sectioned because she was so involved in this character that she actually went off the rails herself and had to be put in a psychiatric hospital.
Would you class that as method acting?
I think so. Method acting is when you become the character.
Yeah.
So you spend your day being that character. So I think maybe she did that to some extent, but I think if she did, that would be a bit silly with that character. If she did, then that makes sense. But I think it could also just be having to live that experience 8 times a week for a long period of time, whether she was method acting or not. That's going to mess you up if you don't come out of it right.
It's crazy because like the amount of repetitions and different takes you're gonna have to take, because we'll see it and that's the finished product. You don't see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of takes of the same scene. You know what I mean? So that ingrained way of talking, moving, acting, whatever it is, must end up playing with who you actually are, like underneath your own personality. And yeah, like you said, it's really important to know how to get out of it. And like, I mean, I'm sure everyone's had the experience of hanging around someone who might be from a different country, right? So their accent's going to be a little bit different. I'd say after about a week, 2 weeks, if you've been hanging around them tons, the way you say certain words might change ever so slightly. And
Yeah, you're
that's
gonna start talking a bit like them. Yeah.
exactly, and that's just talking like them. That's not you changing the way you move or whatever, and that's just subconscious. Now, if you do it consciously, that must be really tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had it where I've done things and I find myself doing mainly with my hands. I find my hands are the biggest things that change if I become a character, like the extremities. And
Mm,
I find myself doing things with my hands that I would never normally do. And
mm.
then that carries on into my regular life as well. And I'm like, shit, this isn't me. Like, what am I doing? And then you see it with some actors as well who do method acting, and they kind of lose themselves because they're a different person all the time for such long periods of time, and then when they come back to be themselves, they can't remember who they are anymore, and it's a
So,
bit scary, to be honest.
I it's crazy.
Mm,
It's absolutely crazy, especially for someone who's like, you've got no ties to the industry. The only tie in the industry is obviously yourself or watching a movie or a TV
yeah,
show, right? And it's, I'm sure everyone's going to be thinking of it with Heath Ledger, right?
yeah,
Would you say he'd be a good example? Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs, and I don't want to speak badly on the fella. I think
yeah,
he's
of course.
absolutely incredible, but he nailed that role so hard. I've watched that movie about 15 times, and every time I rewatch that movie, even if I put it on repeat, he'll still creep me out because he fucking
Yeah,
nailed that role.
yeah,
And I know what's
yeah,
coming. Would
yeah, it's amazing. And obviously that's the reason why people do it, because you get such an authentic product at the end.
mm, but
But
it's
it's knowing how to come out of it at the end.
how how do you come out of it?
I don't know, that's the thing, isn't it?
If you go too far deep, and you kind of, I don't know, you might lose yourself a little bit, but how do you know you're too far? You only know
Yeah,
you're too far
exactly.
once you're too far, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I think I would do that too.
Mm,
Like, in order to get something so as honest as what Heath Ledger has
mm.
in that film, I think it's worth it. Like, that's what I mean. It's such a hard craft, but we're so passionate about it that to get something of that quality at the end,
Yeah,
I think it's worth it.
and you'll literally bleed for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Like when you see athletes at the CrossFit Games and they're like, so messed up,
yeah,
and most people are like, oh, why didn't they just stop? But it's not like that to them. It's so important.
yeah, and that's true passion. That's
Yeah,
true passion right there. If you're willing to, you literally start breaking down, and you're still trying to take steps to go forward, and you're still doing things detriment to your own health, completely blind to it, and you're just like, nah, I have to do this. This is the only way, this is the way, Mandalorian. This is the only
yeah,
way. If I don't do this, then you might as well put a bullet between my eyes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I have to do everything I want to, or I can do. And I was speaking to a good mate of mine maybe 2 days ago, and he made a point that was incredible. People that make these things, right, and actors are a perfect example, achieve a state of immortality because their
yeah,
work will literally echo through time. Like you'll be on the big screen or whatever, or even if it's just on a script and you're just on the script, and that is part of your work, and you've molded it and you've created this sort of like structure or this being. Now you're immortal. Like you could wipe you off the face of the planet,
yeah,
but you're still there. You know what I mean? You still have like ties and whatever. And I think what better way of explaining that than acting?
yeah, yeah. It's there forever.
Yeah, fuck, method acting, man. Like Christian Bale's another one.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
the famous ones. Jared Leto, didn't he? When he played the Joker in Suicide Squad, didn't he start messing around with a little bit of method acting? Or you
I
hear
don't
things,
know.
don't you, and you don't know whether it's true
Yeah,
or not.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like he probably did. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know much about the superhero films. I only know about Heath Ledger. So sorry, I can't add more on that.
Hurts my feelings, but it's okay.
Sorry, but I know, I know there's loads who do it, and I think, it's definitely worth it for the result that they get.
Yeah, 100%. Like if people don't understand it because it's your craft and they're not passionate about your craft, which is fine. That's why you're not doing it as a job.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If they take that concept out and they throw it into whatever they're super passionate about, fucking coaching or writing or whatever it is, they will understand.
Yeah.
If they don't, that's not the thing they should be doing.
No. Yeah.
100%.
They've not found their thing yet if they don't understand.
Yeah, not found their thing. And sometimes you have to go through like 100 things that aren't your thing. And then, you kind of figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it could be a hobby. It doesn't necessarily have to be a job.
Make money. If it's something that brings you joy, even if you can't find a way to make it your living, it doesn't matter. As long as you've got something that lights you up.
100%. Yeah, and I could tell that for years that acting is yours. Like you're just willing to do the work regardless of the time, regardless of what. Like it's time to work. So what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like you've been working 365, 24/7. It's like, yeah, but I've not quite nailed it yet.
Yeah.
I was like, well, fair fucks. All right, I know I couldn't do that, but I couldn't do that in your craft.
Yeah.
So, mate, it's like we said, it's only a matter of time, right? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah. And we're here now. We've done it.
There you go. Yeah, it only takes one snowball effect or the domino theory, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah, whatever you want, as long as you get that one.
Just the one, mate. And it, sometimes it's the first week of doing it, and sometimes it's the 20th year of doing it. Like, what did Denzel Washington say? I'm a 30-year overnight sensation.
I like it.
I love that, man.
Yeah, everyone just sees it when you're there. Yeah. There's a song cut from Tash Sultana, and she says, they only give a shit when you make it big. And I'm like, yeah, G, you know what? You're right. You're
true,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what was it? I saw, obviously there's so many shite memes out there, right? However, there's one that you see that just resonates with you and you can't stop thinking about it for forever.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one where it was split down the middle, right? It was like the people who believed in you. And there's a picture of one person in like an empty old American football stand, where it's kind of like the old rickety stands. It's probably like a baseball stand, to be fair, but that's the man who shoot, doesn't really matter. And there's like rubbish everywhere. There's no one else, and there's just one person kind of sat around. And then on the other side, it was like the people that cheer you on after you win. And it was like a full stadium of people. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is literally perfect.
Yeah, it's so true.
Fuck, man, so true. But as long as you have that self-belief is number one. Because if everyone else dropped around you, everything else was stripped away from you, you'd still be able to do it. So self-belief is number one. And then I believe, obviously, the very, very tight number of people around you in your small circle, whether you are close geographically or not. Like, it doesn't really matter now, does it? Because of technology.
Yeah.
If you have those two things, that's fine. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Just gotta keep going.
Keep going, mate.
Yeah.
So, to an outsider, acting, and this might sound really obvious, but acting seems like something that they value experience more than pieces of paper and qualifications.
I think that's true to some extent, because it's both. I think experience definitely is more important, but it depends on what you're doing. So, for example, say for a TV job, if you've got loads of experience in TV, or you're just fresh out of drama school, I think probably the more TV experience is gonna get you the job, because you've been on set loads, and the person at drama school, they've learned how to work on camera, but they've probably not been in a set environment. I mean, they will have for their grad films, but not. It's a different atmosphere. Whereas if it's a job on the National Theatre or a job at the Globe doing Shakespeare, then the person who's just got out of drama school is probably going to be better for the job than someone who's been a child actor and has never been on a stage before. Do you know what I mean? So it's both things, and I think it just depends on the job. But like, I've proved it that experience is a bit more important, because I only did a year at drama school. They never let me in to do the 3 years, and then I got a sick job. So you don't need it. And I think as well, when I was at drama school, they kind of drill it into you that you have to do 3 years. Like, you can't do it on your own. You have to go to drama school, otherwise you're not a good actor. And
why is that?
I don't know. It was different with different teachers, but the majority were, you need to do 3 years. You need to learn your craft in order to like earn your stripes to be an actor. You've got to go through this whole process, and you have to know how to technically act. And I think, fair enough, maybe for something like on the National Theatre, when you have to be able to use your voice really efficiently in order to be heard there. But the industry now is so digitally based and on the TV, so that's not as important. And like, I think Jodie Comer is such an incredible actor, and she didn't go to drama school, and she is so versatile, and it just shows you how great an actor you can be on the screen. Like, you don't have to be a stage actor in order to be seen as talented now. Like, people can see talent on TV. And maybe that doesn't translate to the stage, but that doesn't mean they're not a good actor.
Yeah, it's two different parts of the craft, right? And
Yeah.
the whole concept of you have to go and do qualification or whatever to learn from other people and learn other people's lessons, and not learn yourself and your own lessons and your own mistakes and kind of figure out your own way. I think that whole concept is really strange, because I'm just like, wait, so I have to walk through this door, then this door, then this door, then this door, but the path's already set out for me. So when you leave and you get out of the final door and you're finally in the wilderness, you don't know what to fucking do, because you've not got a roadmap, and you've always had a roadmap. And I think there's some weight to just kind of being shoved out and be like, all right, figure it out, figure out some lessons, figure out who you are, figure out what you want to do. And then, granted, like, if it's like, all right, I need a little bit of guidance or structure, then, you resort back, or you go, seek out other things. I just think the whole, even like university as a whole and higher education as a whole, of like, at the end of it, to do a job that you don't need a degree, it doesn't make any sense. Because I think people who go to, well, this is going to sound really shit, but they're dependent on the university. Simply because it's laid out. If someone for those 3 years has ended up figuring out the way, they are independent because they've figured it out. Like, you're all taught, like, go to university, go to higher education, go to drama school, where you'll become an independent young adult. How do you become independent? Because they tell me what time to wake up. They tell me what time I need to be in the fucking the classroom. They tell me what assessment I need to do. They tell me what boxes I need to tick to get a B, C, or A. They tell me what to do. They tell me where to go. And I'm like, that's not fucking independent. That's the most dependent thing you'll ever do in your life. You literally just show up and you'll pass.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, because you're not going to learn anything that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
But obviously, there is a lot of weight to it. If you go to higher education, you're going to learn a lot. Like,
you'll learn a lot.
Pros and cons,
and I think, But you see it, there's so many people who go to university just because they don't know what to do with their life yet. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I'll go to uni and I've got 3 more years where I know what I'm going to do every day.
Mm.
Because there's nothing worse than waking up and being like, oh shit, I've got nothing to do. What do I do?
It's hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you are. Yeah, good luck. Deal with
Yeah.
it.
Try and find your way.
I think, yeah, there's so much benefit to tripping up. There's so much benefit to, failing or whatever, learning those life lessons just on your own. And whether that is, you go abroad, whether that's you go do a foundation year, whether you just go do this or that, or you just like, right, I'm going to work behind a cashier for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months. And then every inch of time I have, I'm going to practice my craft of music, acting, fitness, whatever. And like you meet those people, and those people, in my opinion, are more hungry than anyone else.
Yeah.
It's
because they're having to work for it day in, day out on their own. They're the ones who have to wake up and decide, I'm going to do this today, because no one's telling them to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's the training like for acting? Because that's going to be so different.
It's pretty mental. Sometimes you're like, shit, as if I'm paying for this. And it's a bit like what you see on TV as jokes. And you have to really focus and not come out of it in order not to laugh at what you're doing. So with voice work, it's releasing the muscles around in your whole body, so there's more room for your voice to resonate. Basically that, and then learning how your voice works and things like that. But the thing I guess that's most interesting to talk about is the movement classes. So for example, one time we had to go to a graveyard from school. We had to walk to the graveyard, take our shoes and socks off and put a blindfold on. And then we had a partner with us while we had our blindfold on, and we had to feel all the elements. So like touch the grass and feel the sun on our face and water. And then we went back to class and we had to move how all of those elements made us feel. And then another time we had to be chickens. So, being a chicken, and then we all had to take it in turns to be the chicken. And then the teacher had our chicks. And so, mate, I was so invested in this. And he got my chick and he tore its head off and then ate it. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Absolutely not. I was the most aggressive chicken you have ever seen, but I won. I was the best chicken. So,
Claim to fame.
Yeah, claim to fame.
fame.
Best chicken. Absolutely. And then there was another time where for an hour and a half, we had to blow up balloons and then let them go and watch how they moved around the room. And then we had to be the balloon. And then there was another time where we had to do the same with elastic bands and watch them stretch and pull them with a partner, and then we had to be the elastic band. And yeah, just crazy shit like that. And there was one lesson where we had to, so in your own time, you had to find someone just in day-to-day life, like say you were sat on the tube or something, or in a coffee shop, and someone was there who had something interesting about them, like maybe they did something weird with their hands or whatever, and then you'd write it down. And then we'd be in class and one person would sit in front of the class and everyone would watch them, and like for 10 minutes they'd just sit there doing this one thing that this person did. So say they were like tapping their face, they'd just sit there and tap their face as if they were that person for 10 minutes. And we just watch. An hour and a half.
See, the thing is, like, from an outsider, we'll listen to that, right? And be like, you lot are mental.
Yeah, I know.
There's something wrong with you people. Like drama are absolutely nuts. But then you actually dissect it, right? And having the ability to be a convincing Alaki band or a fucking convincing chicken
Yeah,
is actually dead hard.
it is hard. And just doing it in front of people. Like how many
Yeah.
people will get up in front of a room of 16 of their peers and be a chicken with all of their heart, turn themselves into a chicken? You wouldn't do it, would you?
Hell no.
But you're
And
like,
you can tell, right? If someone's 99% invested and someone's 100% invested, there's a massive gap.
yeah,
Like you wouldn't see, I struggle fucking standing up in front of people and talking. Be like, hey, um, I'm
hi.
I'm Alex. You know what I mean? But being a
Yeah,
fucking chicken or an elastic band or a balloon flying around, I'm like, I'd make that convincing. Look, you gotta be a good actor for that.
yeah. Or just having a laugh. No,
Or
I
just
never
be an
have
absolute
that.
nutter.
Very serious actor. Nah, it's sick though. And like it sounds so stupid, but you get so much from it. That's why they teach you so many things at drama school, because you might get so much from one thing and something else doesn't work for you. So it's just building your toolkit. But like I really found the stupid shit, like really physical things. I found that so useful for me. I find it great to build a character from the outside in. So like stuff like just doing a really small movement and then that progressing into my whole body and then into my head of how a person moves or how that person is, or like when we did animal work, like being a tiger and then being like 50% tiger, 50% human, and then being 99% human and 1% tiger, and seeing how different that person is from what I am, from something that came so far away from being a person at all, and now they're a human who is someone else. Like it sounds weird, but it works
But
if you invest in it.
yeah, I think it and like most things in work, if you invest in it, you know what I mean. You plow so much time and energy into it,
Yeah.
you're gonna end up finding some positive out of it. But it only sounds weird to an untrained ear or an untrained eye because they'll be like, a chicken? Are you mad?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
trying to like act like water or fire or whatever. I'm like, look, hey, look, if you can do that, then you end up getting a role and say, for example, you're a princess or whatever. That's going to be easy. You're like, no
Yeah.
problem. I know how to do that because I'm a convincing chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've been a chicken. I can do anything.
Yeah, it's just
Princess.
fundamentals, right?
Yeah. Fundamentals. Exactly.
Fundamentals. Fundamentals of
Yeah.
acting. 101. Be a chicken.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. And there's one time as well where so my best friend and I were partnered together, and we just had to kneel in front of each other and just stare into each other's eyes for 7 minutes and just look at each other. And it was so strange because we were both so vulnerable. Like you
Yeah.
couldn't break eye contact, you just had to look at each other. And her face just like morphed into something else. It was so strange. And she said the same thing happened to mine, because you never do that. But like that's the level of connection that you need to have with someone when you act with them, like more so on stage, because you're going out onto a stage and you've got to trust that the other person is going to be there for you. If you fuck up or if they fuck up, you're the only other person there who's going to help them. And also listening. Like people don't listen to each other 99% of the time. They just hear the end of the question or hear the end of the sentence and will say their opinion. I'll be like, yeah, okay. And that's it. And it happens so much with actors as well. Like they'll just wait for the end of the line and then they say their line and then the other person says their line, but they're not actually communicating. They're just remembering their lines.
Yeah, reading off a script.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, people listen to answer, don't they? They don't listen to understand.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, going back to that vulnerability, like I genuinely believe you can learn anything you want from a person by looking into their eyes. Like
Yeah.
you know exactly what they're thinking, you know exactly what they want, you know exactly whatever. But for 7 minutes, not breaking eye contact, holy shit, you'd be vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was long.
What was that
Yeah.
like?
Um, it was like the first 2 minutes were strange. I
Mm.
think also because I was with my best friend, it was good and bad because I felt comfortable around her, but we're so close that we wanted to laugh. Like, and if one of you starts laughing a little bit, then the other's going to start laughing. So that was difficult. But after that 2 minutes, we were just like, okay, this is where we are. We just got to get through it, and we'll get through it together because that's what we've got to do.
Yeah, that's synergy. And like you said, jumping again from conversation to conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
On stage, having that synergy, it, I don't think anything else can epitomize what you need synergy for than acting, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's slightly off, everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Even people that like I'm the worst film critic in the world simply because I don't care if it's bad. I'm going to enjoy the movie. I enjoy
Yeah.
it for entertainment. I'm not there like, oh well, sorry, like this was slightly wrong and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really mind, whatever. Like, I thought it was awesome.
Mm.
Um, and having the ability to be like, oh, I know that was slightly off, but I will morph what I was about to say slightly, so then it actually works more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And there's
Yeah.
all those you will hear all the time where it's like, oh, that actually wasn't meant to happen, but the
Yeah.
actors just stayed in character and made it work, and it made it into the movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most of the time, from again, not from an actor's point of view, we watch those movies or we watch those TV series, the plays. They're the best parts because they're more
Yeah.
authentic.
Yeah. That's a real moment that's happened there and then.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
So what about it must be so hard because obviously acting you play anything from a snowman to a chicken
Mm-hmm.
or an elastic band. Um, I still can't believe how the fuck are you gonna act like an elastic band?
Honestly, I don't even know what I did. Oh, I remember. So we were in partners. So one of you was one end of the elastic band and one person was the other end of the elastic band. So you'd like slowly pull yourself backwards and like feeling the tension between you as if there was an elastic band pulling you together.
Right.
And then the elastic band let go and then you ran into each other and became one again. Not like ran in and then like twied each other. Like it was safe. But yeah. Yeah. So it was I remember now the lesson was about tension. So it was about creating tension in a scene by seeing the tension within an elastic band.
See, that makes complete sense.
Does it?
Yeah. No, no, legit. Like no sarcasm intended. That actually made complete sense because what's better analogy for attention than an elastic band?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everyone knows what they are, right? And I think that's absolutely spot on. I was just picturing a bunch of drama students like winding themselves back, head down, and then just about to joust into each other. You know what I mean? And I was like, hold on a minute.
I mean, that could also happen. But yeah. So it was like because the way you move your body to be the elastic band is the way you would react if there was tension in a scene, like you'd pull yourself away, and then it's the explosion of when the tension is released afterwards.
And
Yeah.
that's really important to have, or that skill set to have, right?
Yeah,
On a
100%.
scene.
I mean, a scene without tension is a bit dull, really, isn't it?
Yeah, just emotionless, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like having to, you have to first of all, you have to pronunciate all your bloody vowels and everything, and
Yeah.
that's definitely not me.
You struggle with that.
But being able to show every single emotion in whichever way you need to, and then show it so someone at the back of the theater can see it or can figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, it's blatantly obvious. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, even just going into the mirror, right? And you're like, oh, bit sad, bit happy, whatever. And you're like, there's maybe a slight bit of a difference. But someone in the second row is not going to see that.
Yeah, no. But also you've got to keep it authentic. You've got to feel what you're feeling. You can't just put a face on and be like, oh, I feel sad. Like, it's got to resonate from you. And somehow you've got to make what you're feeling readable.
And is that when you've got to put on a different hat and you're like, okay, you're no longer Abby, you're now this character?
Well, it comes in a case of so yeah, once you're in the scene, you've obviously got to be the person you are in the scene. Like when they call action or when the curtain goes up, you are that person, whether you've method acted or not. From that moment, you're them. But feeling those emotions, it just comes from listening to the other person, like we said before. Because if you're really in that conversation and you're having that conversation, if you're sad, if you're supposed to be sad or angry, when you're saying those words, that's what you're going to feel if you're really saying those words and listening to what the other person's saying to you.
Wow. You kind of have to take it a bit personally, don't you?
Yeah. That's what I mean when they say you've got to be vulnerable when you're acting and then thick skin when you're not. Because you've got to feel everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow. So you have to intentionally, take those things to heart to let it hurt the character that you're playing, to then have a more authentic emotion and
Yeah.
presence on. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy, mate.
Yeah. You don't think about that. You think just pretending. I mean, a lot of people do just pretend.
Yeah, and that's just the way of doing it, right? There's many ways to skin a cat, just like there's many ways, you go through drama school, you don't, you go through university, you don't. Like there's always many ways to skin a cat, and there's no right or wrong way, right? But I guess for you, it's to feel the emotion and then portray exactly what you're feeling. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely mental.
That's it then.
But like, so obviously you're gonna have to play many different roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would and you're gonna have to keep yourself in shape because you pull long fucking hours.
Yeah.
So how do you train for one as a whole? Be like, hey, I just got to keep myself one in shape, two physically fit, three healthy. So if they call me up randomly and be like, we got you a job, I can't be like, oh, I'm ill again, or I've like hurt myself again, or whatever. And then two, how would you adapt it if a specific role came up?
So what I do to keep fit is I do CrossFit, but I don't go heavy like I used to. So like where my body is now is where I want to keep my body. So it's not difficult to maintain that. So whereas I would used to be like, oh, I want to RX everything. I want to make myself stronger. Now, because of my voice, I don't want to do that all the time because I'm putting so much tension on my muscles, which is going to pull my voice, which means I can't do my job properly. So I do WODs in a way where I am exerting myself and where I'm keeping myself strong and keeping myself fit, but not in a way that exerts myself too much. And then I also do yoga a lot just to release everything and keep everything nice and open. And also just to keep myself out of my head, because it's so easy to get in your head in this job. And so yeah, that's what I do for myself. But if there was a job where it was specific, you had to look like this, then they would have someone to come in and do it for you. You like,
Oh, really?
so a personal trainer, Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So my friend worked on a film last year, and he had a personal trainer come in and told him everything he needed to eat, all the supplements were given to him for free if he wanted those. And yeah, so if you need to change your job for something, they'll tell you how to do it.
Easy.
Easy.
Imagine that.
Easy.
Hit me up. Hey.
Yeah.
Nah, so that's really important. Oh, really interesting. Sorry, and something I definitely would never have thought about is really pushing the whole weights thing of obviously tighten things up as it
Yeah.
does naturally. But then it affects your voice, and that's not something I would have ever have thought of. Like, how have you seen it affect? Do you think, does it get deeper? Is it croaky? Is it
It just feels so tight. I mean,
tight?
now that I've said it, you might notice it. Like, say you do a really heavy deadlift session or a heavy squat session, just talk afterwards and see how your throat feels. But I think because I've spent so much time working on it, I notice it so much more because I'm more aware. Because I have to be. So yeah, it just feels super tight, and I feel I have to put a lot more air through in order to speak. So yeah, obviously the muscles are working more, so they're gonna get fatigue quicker. So I wouldn't be able to do a 12-hour shoot or 8 shows a week. So yeah, I love lifting heavy, but got to get priorities right.
Yeah, 100%. And this is your job at the end of the day, and I completely relate to that. Like, there's times where we'll go heavy or whatever, and then we'll go heavy, and you'll overreach, and you might end up breaking a rep PR or even a weight PR. And if you talk at the end after it, you're fucked. First of all, you don't make
Yeah.
any sense, and second of all, because your nervous system's like absolutely tapped out. And second
Yeah.
of all, like, it's either a bit croaky or it might sound a little bit deeper, or it sounds a bit off. It's just not,
Yeah.
everything isn't fired on all cylinders. And then relating it to over to yourself, I'm like, well, if your voice doesn't sound okay, everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, like, that's crazy. If it's not
Yeah.
100% okay, this is exactly how I need to sound. If it sounds a little bit off, then you could be perfect in shape for it. The set could be great. The script could be great. Everyone else could be great. But if your like voice changes ever so slightly, nah, we need to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And then the whole meditation. Yeah, I understand that. Headspace. Do you use any apps like the Headspace app?
No, I use one called Calm when I go to
Calm, yeah.
sleep. That helps. But I just go on YouTube and watch some yin yoga and do it with that. I find that's best. Do you use Headspace?
No, I remember being recommended it a good number of years ago, maybe maybe like 5 years ago or something. And I downloaded it and never gave it a go simply because I think I had to pay like £2, and me being
Right.
a tight git didn't want to pay £2. But I'm also the type of fellow that will figure out my own way,
Yeah.
which is obviously writing, right? I write little poems and shit. So I do that every morning. So I write something every morning, and that's a way of feeling through any emotion that needs to be felt through. Any idea that's at the back of my head that's still been there, and it's like you've thrown a dart in a dartboard and never taken it out. It allows me to take it out, get it onto a piece of paper. It's manifested, in the physical realm, if you want to call it that. And now it's no longer in my head. That's my way of doing it. And also training.
Yeah.
And yes, it takes a lot of energy performing your craft, but if it is the right craft, you'll also get a lot of energy back, right? But I know other people, like
Yeah,
yourself,
exactly.
they do yoga. Some people might just meditate and just think. Some people like stillness. Other people like to go absolutely mental and just go socialize. That's a form of meditation. Just whatever. I'm the type of guy that kind of figure it out by himself. You there, boss?
Sorry, I lost you there. What did you say at the end?
Oh no, I just said I'm the type of guy that would figure it out by himself, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I know people are the
Yeah.
same. They end up figuring out in a different avenue.
Yeah. Well, as long as you find something, it doesn't matter what it is, if it works for you.
I mean, people feel pressure to conform to social norms, though, right? Whether it's a job, whether it's whatever, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships or whatever. Like people are just feel strained to do something that other people want them to do, and hey, like if it doesn't marry up in your own head, and like it's slightly off, even if it's slightly off, then it's off. Then you need to fucking drop the ball and go pick up another one and like, hey, go do something else. And I think I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me that other people don't do it, but I can also see, if you've got an absolute shitload of external pressure, especially from family members or whatever, that ends up messing with you, it can become a problem, and they might not want to stand up for themselves.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So when did you know you wanted to be an actor?
So I think actor when I was like 16, 17, but I've always been into performing. So I used to want to be a musician or a singer. So I played piano since I was 7, so that was kind of my thing. And then I played drums and piano in the school band for We Will Rock You. And I was like, oh shit, this musical's so good. So I think I was like 14 then. And I was like, I want to do this. So I did musical theatre at college. And then I auditioned for the Shakespeare Company at college as a laugh. I was like, oh, I'm not going to get a part, but I'll audition. And then I got in and I was like, oh shit, this is good. This is what I'll do. And then I auditioned for Lambda as a laugh. And I got on the foundation. So I was like, oh, all right, this is good. I like this. Let's do this then.
That was a pretty good day.
Yeah, it was a good day. Yeah.
It was a pretty good day.
Yeah. So yeah, I've always wanted to do something performing, but it's kind of swapped between acting and music. And then when I was at college, I was like, nah, this is for me. Yeah.
The thing is, like, I look at yourself and be like, well, she's made to do this simply because, like, you can sing very well, very fucking well.
Thanks.
And you can also, like, you're fucking music fingered, so you touch any musical instrument and it's like, oh, okay, it sounds like you've been playing it for the past 20 years, which is just annoying. Like, I'll pick up the triangle, right, and I'll join stomp, and they'll be like, nah, mate, you're not good enough. I was like, all you're doing is smacking bin lids together, mate. How am I not good enough? Like, nah, sorry, like,
mate,
not making it in. I'm like, okay, cool, this isn't my thing, you know what I mean? And then the whole languages. So it just seems like, okay, cool, like all these other different factors that come together for the whole acting craft. I don't want to take away any hard work. It seems like you pick it up easy. However, I know the fucking grind you put behind it, which is a ridiculous amount. So seems easy, but there's a bit of talent there. Because you can pick them up.
I am so lucky that I can pick things up so quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work hard as well.
110%.
So, yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
But I mean, it's obvious. You're like, okay, cool. Like, it's one, only a matter of time, and two, whichever avenue it is, but it's one of these three things, and they're all under the same friggin' umbrella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're going to end up picking that umbrella up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what about these languages, man?
So yeah.
Because
What do you mean?
I feel like, we'll catch up after 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, I've not spoken to Abby in ages. Like, I'll send her a message. She's just like, oh, how are you, mate? Yeah, I've learned another language.
Yeah, I know. People message me, they're like, oh shit, you've learned something else. God, I know. So yeah, I learned German. I started learning German like 3 years ago because I was like, oh, shit, I hate that English speaking people just speak English.
Mm.
And I was like, oh shit, man, I don't want to be one of those people who just speaks English. And I was like, oh, I don't know which one to learn. And then I was watching TV one night and I was a bit drunk. And then my favorite character started speaking German. So I was like, shit, that's it, it's German. So I sent a message to a tutor. I found a tutor. And then the next morning I got a reply and I was like, all right, I guess it's German. That's what we're doing. And then the following year I went to Germany for a few weeks to improve German. And I made friends with someone who was French who didn't speak German. So I was like, oh, nice one. That's great. But we got on really well. And I was like, it's a bit shit that we're friends and we're only speaking in English. So I learned French. So yeah.
How
There's
long did it
that.
take you to learn these individual languages?
So German, it was harder because it was the first language I'd learned. And obviously German's pretty complex.
Yeah.
So when I got to Germany after a year, I could have a conversation. Like they had to speak slowly, but I could speak to them. Now I could easily speak for half an hour in German. And with French, it was only like 2 months, and then I went to France for a week and only spoke in French.
What
So
the fuck?
yeah, but put the grind in, And it was lockdown, so I was like, shit, all else to do. May as well learn French. So
Might as well. It's like
might as well.
it's like that Big Bang episode, right? He goes, oh, so like I had nothing else to do, so I started learning Finnish. And then once I'm done,
Yeah.
I'm not going to learn Finnish again. So there's one less thing to do. And I'm just like, all right, that's a good point. But I mean,
Yes, fair point, mate.
still,
I mean, yeah, all the other things you could have done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, like I'm absolutely envious. And I love the German language because obviously we both did it. You did it in school, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, I thought you did. Like, well, I did it in school, and I
Yeah.
can't really remember shit. However, I ended up being in Austria one time, and I could read the road signs,
Hey.
and I could kind of get by. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
granted, my listening and my speaking not very great. If I had to write it, I think I'd be better than if I had to listen to it. But I could
Yep.
kind of get by with a reading just simply because from the memory. And it's wicked. It does break down that barrier, and it's also tips the cap to other cultures and other languages. Have been like, hey, like you don't have to speak my language all the time. I'll speak your language because then it's
Yeah,
fair.
exactly. Yeah. And like the experiences that I've had that I would never have had I only speaken English.
Yeah.
It's worth all that hard work.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
when I was in France, we were in this place in the middle of the countryside, and like you could see Mars. The sky was so clear, you could see Mars. And I was like, had I not learned German and then learned French, I wouldn't be here right now. I would never have experienced this. Just insane.
Different little steps, different doors open and opportunities taken. Like you end up in a place where you just like, I couldn't even fathom this back home,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm really I'm learning sign language, aren't I?
Yeah. How's that going?
New Zealand sign language. Hold on.
Yeah, show me.
So I know a little New Zealand sign language.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting good, man.
So hello, friend. How are you today?
How do you say good?
Just thumbs up. Yeah. Just a thumbs up. Yeah. Yeah, so I got an athlete of mine, and she's hearing impaired.
Mhm.
So she's hearing impaired. So
Mhm.
we speak in sign more than talking. Yeah,
Cool.
so I coach a lot in sign, so she understands me better.
Mate, you're so good.
It's just a lot of it is just it's funny as well because she can hear, and
Mhm.
obviously she talks too. One of her ears she's pretty much fully deaf, and the other one she's kind of like half. Obviously she has
Yeah.
hearing aids that helps. Um, helps.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like it just eventually, I see her 3 times a week, and new words come in. It's like, what's your word of the day? We have like a New Zealand Sign Language app on our phone. It's like, what's your word of the day, sort of thing. And we'll kind of be talking, and I'll sign as I'm talking, and then I'll want to say a word that I don't know the sign. So I'll be like, what sign for, and then say the word. And if she
Yeah.
doesn't know, she just whip out a phone, and we're training,
Oh,
but she'll just whip out a phone and just go on the whole dictionary, and was just like, oh, it's this.
oh,
What
sick, man.
was the recent one? We got important,
Mhm.
uh, forever. Yeah. So Paige teach me a little sign, so we can communicate better,
Nice.
and she can forget her hearing aids.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So
Mate, that's so cool.
I want to be able to fully coach in sign, and
Mhm.
take a deaf class, um, and also take a deaf class mainly for me. So bear with me. It's going to sound a bit selfish, but bear with me. So I can be like, hey, obviously I'm learning it. Let me get this nailed. Give you
Mhm.
all the attention I can and need. Blah blah blah. And then with the whole premise of integrating it and it just being a class, and now it's no longer they don't have to go to deaf things or sign things or whatever. It's like, no, you want to come in and jump in a class, or what, join your mates. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
can sign while I talk. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's just that I'd have to be a lot quicker with that. And
Yeah.
obviously the needs of the class would be doubled. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't wait. It's really cool.
Yeah, man, you'll get there though.
Yeah, I try.
Sick.
Yeah, it's easy, man. It's I draw similarities between yourself and different languages,
Mm.
and sign. Like I pretty much am a visual and then also like a kinesthetic. I need to practice it. My memory
Yeah.
ain't great, so I need to
Well,
keep
it's the
doing it.
perfect language for that.
Exactly, exactly. And like I'll I'll go out and only sign.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll just sit there and I'll be like, well, if I don't know how to sign it, I can't say it.
Yeah.
So then you adapt what you're trying to say, and the structure of the sentences are a little different. And then I also, this means finger spell, so
Mhm.
you just spell out the word. So if you uh, don't know the sign for the word, you finger spell it. And obviously, I know the alphabet, so
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'll spell the word. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, mate, it's just practice, just like
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And then like it also pisses me off, like to the point where coaches always talk about communication.
Mm.
Better communication. You need to know your members. You need to be able to do this, blah blah blah. And we're like verbal, visual, tactile, kinesthetic, all these different. And we're like, but you don't fucking know sign language.
Yeah.
So you're just saying you can't come into our gym because we can't cater for you, not the other
Yeah.
way around. And I'm just like, well, don't talk about communication if you're not actively trying to change and to be
Yeah.
exclusive, not
Communicate
exclusive,
everyone.
inclusive. Yeah,
Inclusive. Yeah.
inclusive. So yeah, I think that thought just really kicked me in the ass, and I was like, nah, this is it.
Yeah. Well, it's a perfect opportunity. You've got someone there to help you.
Exactly. And all you got to do is learn 5 words a week.
Yeah.
3 words a week. Hello, my name. There's 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then it's
pick up so
Alex.
quick.
Yeah. So it's cool. Enjoy.
So good.
Yeah.
Good.
Mate, what have you got planned for the rest of the day? What are you? You're the evening, right?
Yeah, it's 6:30 now. So make my tea, chill out. Yeah, that's it. What about you? Start of your day.
Yeah. It's Monday morning, Money Mondays. So get on, get cracking, start banging down some doors. Building,
Nice.
placing bricks to build Rome, as you do.
Yeah, as you do.
I'm not gonna lie, it was music to my ears to hear another person call it tea and not dinner.
Yeah.
Dinner is lunchtime. It's the middle of the day. The evening
right.
meal is tea time. And gravy should be on everything.
Maybe not everything, but a lot of things.
Everything.
I'll put it on my porridge tomorrow.
Okay, brilliant.
All right, yum.
Oh, I would. I would, I'd still do it.
Mate, I believe you.
I like gravy on pasta.
To be fair, I think that'd be nice, to be honest.
Don't
I think at Christmas my brother drank gravy.
Yes.
Or ate it with soup. I swear there was a bowl with gravy in and a soup spoon.
Yeah, I've done that.
But I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Am I proud? Am I disgusted?
Proud.
Oh, all right, proud.
I think, I tell you what, one of the best meals I've had recently was like, you get those frozen bag of chips, the really cheap ones. I think I got like 1.5 kilos or something ridiculous that I shouldn't have eaten, but I did. So I did the whole thing, clearly, because, not all heroes wear capes, and I'm an absolute champion. I do a whole packet of sausages, and then I just drown it in gravy.
Wow.
And I sit there.
That sounds good, to be honest.
Oh, mate. It was next level. You don't need anything else after that. You know what I mean? Armageddon could have started happening, and I'd have been like, you know what? I'm so invested in this plate right now. Like,
this is the most important thing.
I'd have just held my fork up and I'd be like, right, zombie apocalypse. You can wait, mate.
Yeah.
I'll sort you out in a minute. I'm going to town.
Yeah.
On this chips, sausage, and gravy. Oh, naughty.
Right.
I want that for me breakfast now, but I would go into a food coma and probably develop diabetes.
I don't think it's the right time. Yeah.
Okay. All right, boss.
Sorry, man. All right.
Mate, I really appreciate your time.
That's all right. It's great speaking to you.
You're an absolute legend. And I cannot wait for all the jobs that's going to be coming your way, mate.
Yeah, me too.
Put it on record.
Right. It's here.
Mate, much love. Look after yourself.
You. All right. See you in a bit.
See you later, Paul.
Bye.